Hermann Ebbinghaus spent years memorizing lists of nonsense syllables and testing himself at precise intervals to map his own forgetting. His finding was brutal. Within 1 hour, he had forgotten more than half of what he had just learned. Within a day, over 2/3 was gone. The forgetting curve is merciless, but once you understand it, you can use it against itself. Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve is one of the most replicated findings in all of psychology. He discovered that memory retention drops sharply in the first 20 to 60 minutes after learning, continues declining steeply for the first 24 hours, and then levels off much more gradually. The shape of the curve, an initial steep drop followed by a long plateau, reflects the distinction between fragile short-term traces and more stable long-term representations. Memories that survive the first few days tend to persist for a very long time. One of Ebbinghaus's most important insights came from his savings score, a measure of how much less time it takes to relearn material compared to the original learning. Even when he appeared to have completely forgotten a list, relearning it took significantly fewer trials than learning it the first time. This demonstrated that forgetting is not complete erasure. The original memory leaves traces in the neural architecture that facilitate rapid reacquisition. We learn faster the second time because something remains, even when we cannot consciously access it. Ebbinghaus also discovered the solution. Spacing out study sessions dramatically slows the forgetting curve. When you review material just as you are about to forget it, at expanding intervals of 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, each review rescues the fading memory and resets the forgetting clock from a higher baseline. This spacing effect is one of the most robust and practically useful findings in all of cognitive psychology. It explains why cramming the night before produces rapid forgetting, while spaced review produces durable learning. The most common reason we cannot remember something is not that we have forgotten it. It is that we never properly learned it in the first place. Encoding failure occurs when information is processed so shallowly that no lasting memory trace is formed. You have driven the same route hundreds of times, but if someone asked you to describe a specific building you pass every day, you likely could not. You processed it at a perceptual level without elaborative encoding. Most apparent forgetting is actually encoding failure. The information simply was not stored deeply enough to be retrievable. Decay theory proposes that memory traces, engrams, simply fade over time through disuse, like a path through a forest that disappears when no one walks it. While intuitive, decay theory has significant empirical problems. People consistently recall detailed memories of emotionally significant events from decades earlier with high accuracy. Researchers who tested people's memory for their high school classmates 50 years after graduation found remarkable accuracy for faces and names. Time alone cannot account for why some memories last forever while others vanish in minutes. Proactive interference occurs when previously learned information disrupts the learning or recall of newer information. The old information acts forward in time to interfere with the new. The most common example involves learning a new phone number, password, or address. The old one keeps intruding on recall of the new one. Proactive interference is strongest when the old and new information are similar, the same domain, same format, same context. Learning French is harder if you already speak Spanish, because the similar vocabulary creates mutual interference. Retroactive interference is the mirror image. Newly learned information acts backward in time to disrupt memory for older information. After you learn to use a new phone, you may find it harder to remember where the buttons were on your old one. After studying Italian intensively, your previously fluent Spanish may temporarily deteriorate. Retroactive interference is one reason that sleeping after studying improves retention. During sleep, no new learning interferes with consolidating the day's experiences. It is also why studying in varied contexts can be beneficial. Retrieval failure is distinct from decay or interference. The information is still stored in long-term memory, but the retrieval cues needed to access it are unavailable. The clearest evidence is the tip-of-the-tongue phenomenon, where you know a word but cannot pull it up. Partial information, the first letter, the number of syllables, the general feel of the word, demonstrates that the memory is present but not fully accessible. Providing the right retrieval cue, hearing the word in conversation, instantly resolves the blockage. Godin and Baddeley's famous study demonstrated context-dependent memory by having diverse learn word lists either on land or underwater, then recall them in the same or opposite environment. Recall was significantly better when the retrieval environment matched the encoding environment. This is why students who study in a quiet room may perform better on exams in quiet rooms. The physical environment, emotional state, and even body posture at encoding all become retrieval cues. Recreating them at recall improves memory access. State-dependent memory extends context dependence to internal states. People recall information more easily when their physiological and emotional state at retrieval matches their state at encoding. Memories encoded while happy are more accessible during happy moods. This is mood-congruent memory, which contributes to the vicious cycle of depression, where sad mood makes sad memories more accessible, which deepens the sad mood. Research with pharmacological states has shown that recall of learning from an intoxicated state is better when the retrieval occurs in the same state, though this has obviously limited practical utility. The forgetting curve is not your enemy, it is information. It tells you exactly when to review material to maximize retention. Spacing your practice, generating retrieval cues at encoding, and sleeping after studying are not study tips. They are neurologically grounded interventions that change the forgetting curve itself.